people in the online space don't even understand how easy they fucking have it, and yet they still can't be consistent, or they're nervous about going on Instagram Live. Bitch, you don't even have a stutter. Like, this is easy for you. But that was all obviously me being upset that I couldn't use my voice how I chose to use it.
Welcome to Did I Stutter with Jill Perrick. And yeah, I probably did because I have a stuttering disability. But I'm also a multiple six-figure business and mindset coach who's here to help you shut down the mindfuckery of imposter syndrome, self-doubt, and playing the nice girl in your content so you and your brand can blow the fuck up and so you can stack the motherfucking cash. I'm holding absolutely nothing back. We're talking marketing, messaging, mindset, subconscious healing, nervous system regulation, and how to do it all even with raging anxiety, ADHD, and just being a fucking human. If fuck is one of your favorite words and nothing can get in between you, your iced coffee, or the work that you're here to do, I'm your girl. Let's dive in. Hi, my loves. Welcome back to the pod. So today's audio is actually one that I recorded for my lovelies in Unfuck Your Throat Chakra, which is a small program that I ran just last week. It was 5 days. It was a healing program to help you heal the blocks in your voice, in your throat, with Reiki, with breath work. We did a meditative journey. We did a bunch of strategy. Like, it was just such a juicy program because it's all about that connection between like the belief and conviction in yourself and your work and being able to sell on video, forward facing. And like, you really can only do that when you have the belief and certainty in yourself. And this is the block that I think a lot of people don't realize, and they try to cover up with strategy, or is my messaging right? Is this correct? Blah, 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 blah. When really it's about like, you don't believe yourself. You don't believe yourself. And the things that you're saying, you don't believe that you can help people get results. So like, you just don't sound believable when you show up and sell your offer. And when you have that belief and conviction in yourself and you have a strong sense of yourself, you just sound different when you sell your offer. You sound like you believe yourself, and it feels more normal and natural, dare I say, to sell your offers instead of feeling like, oh, like this is something I have to do. I'm taking a risk. I'm taking up space. I'm annoying people, because you just feel so in conviction with your work and so excited to share it that selling just feels like an extension of all the work that you're doing, the content you're creating, how you talk your shit online, your personal brand. It just makes so much sense for you to sell alongside that. And that is how you build a 6 and multi-6 and 7-figure business, right? So like I said, this audio is from Unfuck Your Throat Chakra, and it was an extra audio, a bonus audio that I dropped before we even started the program, all about like how I went from hiding my voice and hiding the stutter that I've had my entire life into making my personal brand actually about it, and how I incorporated it, how I healed from like the shame of it. And I talk about it all and how important it is to do that work around shame so you can truly build a profitable business, because your voice is your best sales asset. It is your best sales tool in order to make fuck tons of money. So that is what you're going to hear today. And if you want all of the calls from Unfuck Your Throat Chakra, if you want the audio drops that I did, if you want all of the things, you can still join Unfuck Your Throat Chakra for $33, and you will get access to the Telegram channel, all the call replays, and all that good stuff. And one final thing before the episode begins, Signature Savage is now open and on pre-sale. This is a 4-week group program where I'm going to help you turn your signature offer into a 6-figure recurring revenue engine. This is for you if you have a signature offer and you need to bring it back to fucking life again. You need to become obsessed with it again because you really want to call in those high ticket clients to create recurring revenue up to 10K, 15K, 20K inside of your business. And you want your signature offer to be the foundation of that income. We are on pre-sale right now until Friday, May 15th. You can join for $777 or 2 payments of $397. I had to check that for a second, but so full pay in full is $777 or 2 payments of $397, and that is the pre-sale, and that pre-sale price goes away as of Friday, May 15th, and we officially start the program on Monday, June 8th. You're going to have a fully fleshed out signature offer that you're obsessed with and can't stop yapping about. You're going to create messaging and positioning for that offer that moves people to DM you and apply instead of it just sounding good on the sales page. And you're going to create a foundation of long-term, predictable, stackable income as the foundation of your business, okay? As the foundation of your income. There's no or like, oh my God, I don't know how to sell high ticket, blah, 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 blah. You are gonna feel so on fire for your signature offer, your high ticket signature offer. And this is the place to be. Signature Savage is the place to be. So I love you. That is at the link in my show notes as well. Again, pre-sale for that ends on Friday, May 15th. I love you and I hope you love this episode.
A lot of the content that I've been creating around Unfuck Your Throat Chakra is around my own experiences in having a stutter and how much our physical voice is such an impactful piece of our story and the way that we show up and sell our offers and just our personal brand and how we get known. And it's so funny because when I first started the business, like in 2018, it was actually in 2017 when I had the idea. I had the route of either going into therapy or being a coach. I just like decided to become a coach instead of a therapist. And I was like, you know what, like something in me, like I really want to grow like my own thing. I don't want the limitations that come with being a therapist, the restrictions, like there were all of these reasons. I just felt really bold to starting my own thing. So in 2017, I was still very much in the dark when it came to having a stutter. And you would think that that's crazy because in 2017, how old was I? Oh my God. I was in my mid 20s and I had never really talked about my stutter. Obviously, everybody around me knew I had one. Obviously, I knew I had one. It affected me every second of every single day. It still does. And the thing was, though, I held so much shame about it. So much shame, so much pain, so much like wishing on birthday candles that it would go away at some point. Because the thing about having a stutter is there are a lot of kids that grow out of stutters. And I always thought that I would be one of those kids, but I'm one of the unlucky fucking people that doesn't and that has it instead for the rest of my life. And I just held on to this hope as a child that I was always going to grow out of it, but I didn't. And I still have it. And for years and years and years, it was like the silent thing that you wouldn't know, obviously, looking at me. And this is the struggle about having like a silent disability is like you can't see it until like I would start talking. And then so there's a lot of catching people off guard or them laughing. And I didn't learn how to advocate for myself before people found out. It was just this like shame that I harbored. And the way that my like parents kind of treated it was like, we're not going to talk about it because we don't want to like embarrass you or bring attention to it. I still remember this experience with my dad. And I said something like, and I was at it and I said something like, but Dad, I have like a disability. And he said, you don't have a disability. Who told you that? So it was very confusing for me because I was like, but I do have this thing and it affects me every second of every day and I feel so much shame about it, but it's also not a big deal. Like, I don't understand. I remember going to Chicago with my girlfriends in 2016 and I talked to them about it because I had so much anxiety and I always have. I've always had a ton of anxiety, especially around speaking stuff. And I sent a group chat and I was like, hey guys, like I'm feeling really anxious about like going on this trip and I would love it if we were in like public spaces, meeting other people, if you could just like introduce me or something, like blah, blah, blah. And my best friends, one of those friends I had known since I was 5 years old, they were like, we didn't realize that you had so much anxiety about your stutter. And it was then that I realized how good I was at fucking masking the anxiety that I felt. And I started therapy in 2017, 2018. And like, that was just at the core of it all, at the core of the unworthiness I felt, like all of the anxiety I felt was around like stuttering in front of people and feeling embarrassed, feeling stupid, feeling not good enough. Okay. So I was not equipped to use my voice how I really desired to. And then I decided to start a business. I decided to start a business because I thought to myself, oh, like if I grow my business, if I have something where I can like work from home, I won't have to talk as much. And I'm fucking laughing now because that could not be farther from the truth. Like all we do all day is fucking talk. That's all I do is I use my voice for dropping audios, talking to clients, being on calls, doing live trainings, being visible. And this was a realization I started to have as I started to grow and grow and grow. And I was like, oh my God, like this is something I have to get over. And I was angry because I was like, so many of these people in the online space don't even understand how easy they fucking have it, and yet they still can't be consistent, or they're nervous about going on Instagram Live. Bitch, you don't even have a stutter. Like this is easy for you. But that was all obviously me being upset that I couldn't use my voice how I chose to use it. And then I had this big experience with that Reiki healer, and how she was like, you need to start advocating for like your stutter and yourself, and it's actually supposed to be a big part of your personal brand. And I was like, I'll say it ain't so. No, but I knew it. Like I knew it as soon as she said it. I was like, okay, first of all, truth bomb with the whole witch wound realization and everything too, like being like, oh, like that, just like I felt it physically. And even though consciously I couldn't think about that in a way that made sense because I was such like a logical, skeptical person, I was still kind of like a witch wound, past life, what the fuck. But like as I became more spiritual and as I stepped into it, it's like it's not that we can try and say if that's real or not, because actually we do know witches were real. And like depending on your belief system, if you believe in reincarnation or any of that stuff, that is real. And I do believe that. And I also do believe that like we hold on to so much physically in our fascia, in our bones, and subconsciously that like we can't always bring to words. We can't always explain it logically, but just because you can't explain something logically, it doesn't mean that it doesn't exist. So I felt that, and I felt that it was true, and it gave me some like meaning to it, some meaning of like having a stutter, and why I was drawn to work like coaching and service and being with people and like communication in this way, even though communication is also one of the hardest things for me. So all of this being said, when I had that experience with the Reiki healer, and she was like, this is supposed to be a part of your personal brand, I was like, well, like, God, really? Because I still held so much shame about it. And in undoing the shame bit by bit, doing more healing, talking about it out loud, having people send me DMs, whether they have a stutter or not, and saying like, this has really impacted me. Like how you talk about this is so powerful, and it really helps me feel seen. Like even though I don't have a stutter, I have this or I have that. And that was really powerful for me. That was really powerful for me to hear that I have an impact on people because I stutter, and like because I'm open about it, no matter how hard it is. And the whole reason why I decided to drop this in today is because I was thinking about like that connection between like our power and our voice. And we're obviously going to dive deeper into this during the actual 5 days that we're journeying together. But like when you have power in your voice and certainty and conviction, it changes everything. And how you actually get that is the believability with yourself. And even though I stutter, if I really do believe the words that I'm saying, like it sounds differently than the content that I used to create. I used to do these videos called Truth Tuesdays. I used to record them on my digital camera back in like 2018, and I would put it up and I would record, and I would like you could tell I was just not confident in how I was talking. And it actually had nothing at all to do about the stutter, because I would cut out any stutter. I would stop. Like I was so meticulous before I actually came out about having a stutter. I was so meticulous about like editing everything down so it wasn't obvious, right? But that aside, my conviction was just not there, and my power and the things that I believed about myself and about my offers wasn't there. And that is a piece to you confidently selling your offers, because there are going to be opportunities where you do that, whether that's in person and you're talking to someone who's seen you online and they're like, I'm really interested in this offer. That happened to me in 2019. I was at a work event and this person who became a client who paid me multiple four figures for one-to-one coaching, she actually approached me in person and was like, I've been really thinking about your offer. And at that time it was called Unsure to Untamed, and it was my signature offer at the time. It was one-to-one coaching, and she actually sat there and told me that she has been thinking about it, and we had a great conversation about it. And that was the first time that, because I really believed in the work I was doing, like that was easy for me. And then with live trainings or on Instagram Live, when you like want to sell your offer but you're nervous and you leave it to the end and you rush through it, or you don't know what to say to sell it so you don't sell it at all, like you would think that this is a strategic issue, but the first piece of it is like that believability with yourself and that belief in yourself about your offer, and your belief also that you can help clients get results when they come to work with you. And these are all things that we're going to like unpack and find the root of why you may not believe yourself. And the second piece to the reason why I dropped this audio, oh my God, it's getting so long, but the reason why I decided to drop this as well is because I was thinking about a speech coach that I worked with back in 2023, near the end of 2023. And great guy. He was great. And something that he taught me is something that like I really use often, and that is using the queen voice. And what this means is that when we get strategies as somebody who stutters, we have certain strategies for talking more fluently. And one of those tools that he taught me was to use a voice or a persona. So it's very highest self-coded in terms of, if you were your highest self, how would you lead? How would you act? How would you talk? And so I was like, oh, this is right up my alley when it comes to coaching, right? And we called it the queen voice. And I use that. I try to use it the best that I can when I do trainings or when I go on Instagram stories or when I go on live. Of course, I have a very like casual, laid back, relaxed kind of talk, way of talking, I mean. But when it comes to like when I'm doing a training or when I'm pitching or when I'm selling, I tweak it a little bit and step into that mean voice, because just the idea of like, okay, I'm selling and I am being the best version of me, and I'm really selling the believability that I have with myself. It doesn't mean that you're acting completely different, because in my queen voice, I still sell, or I still swear, like I still curse, like I am still me, but it's just like I'm also like Coach Jill at that point. So I want you to think about the version of you, and you don't even have to like call it anything different than yourself, but thinking about like you are comprised of tons of different like identities and versions of yourself. Like you are a daughter, you are a sister, you are a mom, you are a coach, you are this, you are that, you are all of these things, okay? But when you step into like your coach self, your personal brand, this thing that is just for you, how do you imagine that you speak? And how can you enforce more of that believability with yourself? And how can you step into her and you can like learn how to speak with like deep conviction, right? And how can you start infusing that into the content you're creating over the next week? And how can you just start to step into that now instead of starting when we actually begin your throat chakra on the 4th of May? How can you step into that now and actually use that queen voice, that highest self voice? Because after a while it becomes very natural, and you realize, because that is a big piece of it, is like I obviously really study and pay attention to leaders and how they speak, because like I am so fascinated by like the way that people speak. And that is also another strategy as a person who stutters, is to actually literally like emulate how people speak. And I had to learn like, okay, this is how that person speaks, but how do I speak as like the highest version of me? And this is something that you can do too, because when you say things with more conviction and more belief and more oomph, and like you fucking believe yourself, and you don't even have to swear, you don't have to, but when you speak like that, people listen. It is not just about the words that you're using. That is still extremely important, but it is also about your believability with yourself.